Hello, welcome to Hobby Vlog number 222. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll get straight into the fun little Reaper challenge which I'm running this year. First of all, last week was the final week of February, so on screen now I will run my little spinny thingy to pick the winner for February, and the winner was Quinn's Budget Crafts. So congratulations, Quinn. He already picked his miniature and he has already received it. I believe he went for how you say her name. So that was sent to him brand new off of the Reaper store in America and arrived just a couple of days ago. So yeah, really, really cool. So that is what will happen at the end of March again. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning one of the miniatures which I'm painting up during March, then all you need to do is on screen now, there is the list of miniatures which are available today. Pick one that you want me to paint, stick a comment below with the name of that miniature, and your name will be entered into the draw for March. And also I will be running a draw at the end of the year, though I've no idea what the prize is for that, I've not decided, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's been a really fun little challenge this, and last week I painted up it was the Mermaid, Pearl the Mermaid, and I'll pop a picture on the screen now to show you what that ended up like. Had a lot of fun doing the basing, and the full paint for that will be out on An Average Painter tomorrow. I've not actually got it to hand, I'll just quickly dive out of screen, but the one that won this last week was the Ogre Matriarch, which is going to be a fun one to paint. So I'll get that painted up this week, and yeah, I'll show you next Sunday, what that looks like. So do vote, it is fun, it doesn't cost you anything, and you might just be able to win the Ogre Matriarch or one of the other ones, including Pearl the Mermaid, because that's going to be entered into the March draw. So you better win one of these miniatures for yourself. So that's a little bit of a long introduction because of the Reaper miniatures. Unfortunately, last weekend we didn't get to play again because Angela was sick, and today I'm sick, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to run the game. It's been weeks since we've played. I really do want to, so I'll see how I feel and see how the day goes. So hopefully we'll get a game in. So there's once more no One Ring campaign to show. However, Rosie has been hobbying with me a little bit this week, which has been a great pleasure. I love it, and hopefully that will continue into next week as well. Anyway, long intro, like I say. Thank you ever so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, and I'll see you again at the end. I've actually done Pearl the Mermaid before. She's one of the miniatures that's inside my lake. So there we are. So I have painted this before. So what we're going to do is, as usual, comes in two parts, as you can see. As usual, that's going to get put into some hot soapy water, scrubbed with a toothbrush, and then let to dry naturally. And then I'll come back and start filming again when I look to put her fins on. I'll show you where that goes and do the cleaning up and what have you. So yeah, I'm not sure what kind of a base I'm going to do on this. I'm just going to think about that for a while. But first of all, need to get her scrubbed. Alright, so we have a really nice low hill here, as you can see. And now I'm going to try a different technique. So rather than stuffing these gaps, and what I want to make clear is I've made this much smaller honeycomb than the others where I was stuffing the gaps. What I've got is some masking tape, and I'm going to do something a bit different, which is I'm going to stick masking tape over it, like so, and make the contours with masking tape rather than doing it with stuff in the middle. So I think this should end up with a slightly smoother result. I'm not sure. We'll find out. And what you'll notice is I'm going to do crossways here, and then I'm going to put lengthways, and then I'll do some more crossways. So I'll fill it in. By the end of this, the whole of this will be covered with masking tape. There won't be any gaps. But yeah, I'm just well, I'm making this up. I've not seen anyone do this. I know that it isn't a totally original idea. I'm pretty sure it's not anyway. It doesn't feel like it should be an original idea, but it's certainly something I've not seen. So if anyone can tell me if someone else has done this before, that would be awesome. I don't want to take credit for it as such, but I certainly haven't seen it myself. And I think that's going to be quite nice. Oh, that was silly, wasn't it? Come on. Focus. So I have got a good roll of masking tape here, Regular viewers will know that some of my masking tapes are terrible and don't stick. You need to be able to stick your masking tape to do this technique, otherwise it just won't work. So yeah, we're going to continue with this. I will come back shortly when I've finished doing what I'm doing and show what it looks like when it's all covered over with tape. And then what we'll do is PVA over the top, and then I will also do my toilet roll. Now I'm running out of toilet roll at the moment, so I also need to get some more toilet roll. So yes, I'm going to carry on with this cross mesh kind of whatever I'm doing here, and I'll bring you back when I've got it done and show what it looks like. Well, there we are, entirely covered in masking tape. So what I'm now going to do is, I've just gone and looked and I don't actually have any more toilet roll. So I'm going to make use of the toilet roll that I do have, and going to coat the rest of it just in PVA and let it dry, and I'll try and get some more toilet roll as soon as possible. I don't really want to use the nice stuff that Angela buys for actual use in the toilet. This is the cheapest, nastiest, most horrible on your bottom toilet roll I can find, because it's cheap and all I'm using it for is this kind of thing. And ultimately, giving this a coat of PVA, even without any toilet roll on it, will start to strengthen the structure and toughen it all up, I think. So yeah, get this done, and we'll get all of these to the same level. So the one is, as I stand here right now, the first one has had sand and black paint on it. The second one is still building up layers of toilet roll, and now obviously this one is going to need more toilet roll as well, so I definitely need to buy some more toilet roll. But we're going to have 3 hills done in slightly different techniques, and see which one we like the best. This so far is looking nice. I really like the shape I've got, and I hope that maybe all of them look good. Anyway, enough rambling, enough nattering. I'll just get this all painted on, then slap what toilet roll I can on, as I say, and come back later when I've been to the shop and finish it off. There we are. Well, I've got this a little bit further on, and yeah, there are some challenges and some things to point out. So this front porch is particularly fiddly, and if we have a quick look at this leg here, if I lift it up and bring it in, try and get it to focus, I actually managed to destroy this down section completely, and what I've done is I've cut another bit of sprue and just kind of glued it in place to act as a little bit of a support and to try to hide that mistake. And once it's painted, you won't really see it, but it's just so thin and fiddly. But the point I'd make is you have these feet on, and if you're doing what I'm doing, which isn't reading very far ahead in the instructions, which is probably something that you'd be more smart than me, but getting this frame in and that foot on dried first, letting it set, and then putting the roofs on is going to be your best bet. And to be honest, I'm pretty glad that in this case I am actually gluing this entire thing together, including that. It's going to be a little bit fiddlier to work up underneath here when I come to do my grout mix on it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you wouldn't be able to put it together, I don't think, if you didn't. You can just see that I just touched that again and it all shifted once more. This leg here is coming out of that bottom bit there. It's just very, very fiddly. I might even try and get a little bit more glue in while I'm talking, just get to try to seal that in. It's a very, very fine piece of MDF, and yeah, it doesn't really, yeah, it's very hard to do. So I'm going to leave that now. I'm not going to touch it anymore. Step away, let that set, and then I'll carry on with the next steps. But we're getting there. I mean, it's going to look really nice. I'm really pleased with it. It's just that is particularly fiddly. Very hard for an MDF kit to do that without breaking it, which I just basically destroyed it by being too violent. So I thought I'd have a quick look at this, make sure that my the mast would actually fit in, and I'm glad I did, because as you can see, I've had to take that apart and then add some glue in, put it back in slightly further forwards, because that was not going to work. So I'm going to let that to dry now, and I might actually even leave the mast in, and on the other one I might even put the two masts in and glue them in upright before I do any more of the painting. The next painting is going to be putting the colours on. I need to paint the back of each of these. So there's like the let's use this one. So there's like that design on the back which I need to paint. So that's going to need to go downstairs and be done with my fine painting brush and actual paints, not not home house paints, but actual hobby paints. So yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to have to do next. But I did want to make sure that my masts were fitting, and they do just about, but not very well actually. They're it's very tight fit, which is why they're probably just going to have to get glued in. And I've got Pearl assembled and primed and stuck onto a base, and you can probably see from the size of that base that I am going to do something scenic with it, but not until after I've painted her. So she's ready now to go down to the painting bench. One benefit, I did actually think this might happen, of this fun challenge is that I'm actually forced now to paint this. I've not wanted to paint. I've been very tired, very stressed for the last half a week really, and today was the first time I painted for days, and I did that because I knew that tomorrow I was going to have to start on Pearl because I need to get her done this week. And so while obviously, you know, if you're tired and worn out and what have you, you need to rest. Also, you can't rest too much because sometimes that becomes self-fulfilling. So having a inspiration and a motivation, even if it's just 1 miniature a week, hopefully I'm going to finish more than that this week, but even only 1 miniature a week, that's a win. So yeah, so I'm going to take her down. I'm going to see how well I can get her painted in a day or two, and then work on the scenic base, and hopefully I'll do her justice. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's voted so far. Don't forget that if you want to be involved and potentially win one of these miniatures, just pop a comment below in the vlog, and you will, if you do it in time obviously, then you'll be entered in to the draw to win one of these miniatures at the end of the month. So yeah. In the vlog, the list of options is below. Okay, I'll stop rambling. I'm going to take her to the painting bench, and hopefully she'll look good. Next time you see her, she'll be painted. Alright, so these are done, and nice and hard, as you can see. However, because I didn't do preventative warping, so I didn't clamp them down, they are warped, this one particularly badly. So we're going to have to do some post warp fixing, which I much prefer to do. Prevention is better than cure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along, I'm going to paint PVA on the bottom of both of these, and hopefully that will flatten them out. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll report back. I'll show you what it looks like after they've dried, and then we'll get on to the rest of the painting, and I probably will clamp these down now. I kind of deliberately didn't clamp them, kind of wanted to see whether they would warp and then see whether I could recover it just as part of the experiment. So let's hope that I can. I must admit to being very, very excited about this. This is the first ever Limbo Division model that I saw and I wanted, and was out of stock for ages. And Ed has been slowly but surely going through recasting and remaking them, re-releasing some of the older models. And so I was able to grab Kelly on her Kelly Speed, which is just awesome. It's like a mono wheel motor, like a mono wheel bike. Got some pretty extensive instructions, as you can see. It's really, really awesome model. So yeah, I mean, I'm not able to afford as much as I was affording because of not having a job, so I'm having to be a bit more sensible. However, I couldn't not get this because yeah, this was what got me into his original, or in fact what I found of his originally and I wanted. So that's going to go onto the stash, and not sure when I'll get time to do it. I need to do it justice, frankly, because yeah, this is that is the holy grail for me of 209 miniatures, and finally arrived today. So pretty happy. And honestly, I can't wait to get it built, but it'll have to wait because I've got lots of other things in front of it, and I want to give it the full focus and full attention that it deserves. And I probably need to get to be a better painter as well. So anyway, happy it arrived. Well, my attempt to unwarp this failed miserably. I've clamped it down just for now, but I'm going to have to do some extra work to recover this. However, what I have done is started putting on the black paint, as you can see. just put a black undercoat, and I've done the other one as well, the one with the bark on it, and then I'll get the sand on. But what I'm thinking is, having done that, I'm actually going to probably want to recover this before I do any further, because I'm going to end up putting more papier-mâché on to blend it in. So once that's dried, I'll bring you back, and I'll show you how I'm going to go about saving this and making it not be warped when I want to put it on the table. Because if I take these clamps off, and bear in mind I've clamped this, which has held it down some, I mean, it's a lot better than it was when I first clamped it, but you can just see how much that's rocking around, and that's too much. That'd be really annoying on a tabletop. So yeah, so I'll let that dry and then show you how I'm going to save it, which won't take very long. It will delay it a fair bit, but yeah, onwards. Right then, I've managed to get all of these assembled, including all the little bits and pieces. I did a big push to get that done. So now it's going to start to do the painting. So this one is all glued together. Everything is assembled and glued, which is fine. This one, only a few bits are glued. Most of it is not glued, so I'll be able to just take that apart to paint it. So what I'm going to do is have a look at the art, because I really like the colours that they've used here. So if you have a look at this, this building is going to have like an orangey colour, which I do have, and nice green wood. And then this one is going to be nice and blue, which of course I can do. This one's easiest because it's only wood, so it's just painting. But this one, I'm going to be doing some stucco, which I do with a little bit of sand mixed into grout, and I'll show you how I go about doing that. And then what I'm probably going to do is also put some texture on the roof as well. But I'll have a quick look at that and decide that when I get to it. But if we take this building apart, the part that's going to be, the thing that's going to be the most difficult is getting in here, because this is where the stucco is going to be. And you can see here, we have it here, and you have a little bit of kind of like wood going on, which is exposed. So what I'll do is I will paint the wood bits that are exposed first, because they are going to be, then I can then go over the top of them with the grout, and then we'll do the grout parts, and then we'll paint the details, so around the sides of the windows. So I'll get some grout mixed up, we'll get that painted on, I'll show you how I do that, and then once that's done, I will then start painting the rest of it. So first off, wood. Second grout, not grout first off wood. So let's get this wood painted, and that's going to be done just with the normal brown. This is being done with the nice green, which is also the same colour as the wood for the roofs here. So yeah, so I'll just get that. I'll get those two paints out, get them painted, and show what it looks like when they're done. The Squadron painted. Actually did that in like one sitting in one day, two sessions in one day, and I'm really happy with how it looked. I really like the bright green colours, very different, a little bit more unique, and yeah, I did video this, so there will be a video coming out with an average painter channel, so you can see exactly how I got these painted up. But pretty quick, pretty easy, a little bit fiddly at times, but relatively easy to paint. So yeah, really cool. So I'm happy to get these done. Another 2 miniatures for the year, and another 2 Aeronautica models to go into my display case, which is cool. Maybe one day I'll even get to play this game. I've just gone to look for some material to use to recover this warped base, and I found this base. It's an old, it's a backing from a picture frame. No idea why we've just got the backing and not the frame anymore, but that's what it is. But I'm looking at this and I'm just wondering whether I can't actually save it without having to make use of this material, which could be used for something much more, much better. I don't have any cardboard easily to hand. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to crack on with it without recovering it. So I'm going to clamp it back, clamp this piece back to the board, and continue working on it. And if the warp gets really bad later, or if I get really annoyed at it, then I will try to recover it later on. But for now I'm just going to leave it as it is. But I thought that's not a wasted clip. you can't always, sometimes you make a decision and change your mind and stuff when you're making terrain, and it's not the worst thing in the world just to have a quick look at it and explore in your mind what you want to do. So what I'm going to do now is the next step in this process, which is adding the sand on and sealing it in with PVA. So I won't bother filming because I did that for the first example. What I can say is this technique here has worked really nicely. Didn't need as many layers of the papier-mâché on it, which made it a quicker process to do, and I think actually I really like the way I've got the shape as well. I'm pretty happy with it in its entirety. So yeah, happy enough with this technique. Happy with all of them, but this one uses less material and it's hard, as you can tell. So let's get some sand on it, and then they'll all be at the same level, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I'm having fun here painting away. I've slapped some nice dark green, bright green. It's quite bright dark green, but it is dark. The darker green, I've got green onto the wooden panels here, and I've done the brown for the cracked areas there. And now I've moved over to the other building which I'm taking apart. So this is a top floor, and I've put some dark grey onto the floor there. As you can see, that's dark grey. And then I've continued with the dark grey over the rest of these pieces, which are the boardwalk and the sidewalk and what have you. So I'm just putting dark grey on there. And once that's done, then I'll put greens and I'll do some washes over the top of it and weather it down a bit. But I'm doing it with the grey because I'm trying to do like old wood. So this is the last panel I've got to do. I've got a Xena in the room with me wanting to go out, so I'm going to have to let her out in a second. But yeah, I'm just literally slapping this over, and this is just house paint. It's nothing special. You can get these little tester pots from our local home improvement shop, and I use this paint for pretty much everything. The green is the same. It's just a tester pot, slightly larger, of normal house paint, and that's what most of this is going to be. So once I've finished painting the grey, I'm going to paint the inside of each of these walls in white, and then I'm going to glue it together, and then I'm going to paint the outside once it's assembled. So that's my plan for each level of this building, and I'm just going to do the floors the same. I'm going to do them all in the grey, and the walls in the white. I'm not going to go any more fancy than that. This is inside buildings I do want to paint, but I've found in my experience of wargaming is you very, very rarely end up going inside them. So I want them to be painted, but they don't need to be, you know, decorated as such. Anyway, there we are. I'm going to have to do the sides, obviously, or what have you, when it's dried. But now, wash my brush, paint these in the white, and then glue that together. And then I'll start on the next level, do the same thing, bottom level, do the same thing. And by that point, I should be able to then start painting the outside. And I'll show you what colour I pick when I get to it. Oh, there is one other thing. I have painted the roof, but I'm really unhappy. It's got a big gap. Very big gap. You can fit your brush through it. So I think I'm actually going to get some of my shingles on that, glue some cardboard shingles and repaint it, because yeah, that's just not good enough. But I'll bring you along for that as well when I get to it. Right, so I'm here with Rosie, and Rosie is going to help me to plant a bunch of trees in this area.
Right there.
So there's a tree. So let me show you how we're going to do this, and then we'll get stuck in. So that tree is going to go here. So I take the bradawl and I push it in like that. Do you see?
I can't see.
There we are. So we've got a hole.
It really is sharp.
Yeah, it's sharp. So we take that tree and we dip it in some glue, just some PVA glue like this.
Okay.
And then we take it and we push it into the hole.
Can I do it?
Yeah, like that.
Wow.
And we're going to do that, and we're going to use lots of these trees, and we're going to fill this area up with trees. So you excited, Roo?
Wow, look at the cliff.
I know. Are you excited, Roo?
They live right there.
Yeah.
Look at the kite.
You love the kites, don't you? Right, so I'll turn the camera back on when we're done. We're just going to get cracking. Really excited. Haven't hobbied together for ages, have we, love? Brum brum. She doesn't want to interact. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There we are.
Next time if we need to put any more trees, we can do them.
Yes, we can. Right, Rosie. So we've done the trees, and I think they look great. Do you like them, Rosie?
Yeah.
Show us what you did. Stop getting distracted. Which is your favourite tree?
That.
The tiny little one. So this was one of the last ones we put on, and the big one. So we've got a load of big trees.
And these are the children.
Yeah, Daddy and Mummy and all the kids, and it looks really good. It's a really nice, what we call a scenic break, and yeah, pretty pleased with how you look at it. And you like it, don't you, Roo?
Yes.
So you're going to go and play your piano now, aren't you?
Yes.
Good girl. Thank you very much for helping me. I really love hobbying with you. Mwah. Alright, so I finished up the Enter Ploeg, or Ploeg, or however, Ploeg, however you're supposed to pronounce it. I'm pretty happy with how they came out. Simple paint job as always. I always try to follow the art that's on the packaging, which makes it a little bit easier for me. And yeah, they were quite fun. A little bit of a different colour scheme to all the other ones I painted for Blood and Plunder. So that's the first of the Dutch nationality. And I will now pick another set to paint. I am wondering if I might paint the capers. I've got 8 of those, so I can get a nice little bit of productivity in the next week out of that, which will be quite nice. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying these. Quite enjoying the style of the Dutch. So Pearl has painted up really nicely. So now we're going to work on the base. Found a couple of stones. I'm just going to put one in. I think just this one here, this greeny looking one, which I'm going to stick in just behind her there. I'll let that go off, and then what we'll do is I will put some weeds grow up around her, and then a sandy bottom, and then paint the rim, and then she's done. So yeah, really happy with how she came out. Followed the image in my head, the green hair and the red with a silver dry brush, and I think she just looks beautiful. So really happy. So yeah, so next up, I'll just let that set. It won't take long, maybe 20 minutes, and then I'll come back with some fake plants, and we'll put a little bit of a rush forest behind her, so it'll look like she's coming out of like a bunch of reeds, and then after that I'll be finished pretty much, apart from the sand. So bring you along for that when I get to it. Got my stones set. So now what I've got is some of these. Now these are just fake plants that I buy at a local home improvement store, and I've got a big box of them up here, as you can see, big box of them, and I've pulled out a couple of different styles. So I've got this style here, which is just long thin strips, and the way these work is you pull them off like this, so they slide up and down, and they'll come off. You might need to snip some things. It looks like I'm going to have to snip that top off there. Just get some strong scissors. Bear in mind that they've often got metal inside them, so you need strong scissors or proper snips. Actually, I didn't realise you don't have to snip it at all. That comes off. There we are. So I didn't need to snip that. But anyway, so what we've got is we've got these long thin ones, which I'm going to make use of, and we've got these kind of like more leafy ones. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a forest of these behind her. I'm not going to film it because it's going to be a bit fiddly to film, but just to quickly demonstrate how I'll do it, what I will do is take off the bottom of that like so you end up with something which you can then glue down and then stick that on. Now it's going to be a bit tall, that, but I don't care, it can bend over. It probably won't fit in my box, but it'll be really dramatic. So I'm going to have a couple of these, and then I'm going to put a few of these in. I'm not going to do too much, just going to do behind her, and once I've got that all glued down, then we'll do the sand, and I'll bring you back when I come to do that step. So yeah, really easy to do this with these fake plants you can buy in any shop, any kind of home improvement store or whatever, and they look really good for underwater scenes. I had to go with had to go with hot glue to get those stuck down, but that worked okay, and it's not the worst thing in the world, because what we're going to do now is I'm going to put some of the Luke's basing glue on. If I can get it to come out. Awesome this, but the more and more you use this, the harder and harder it becomes to use, because it clogs, because it's very sticky. So yeah, awesome YouTubing there while I was doing that on the bench, just trying to get it working, but there we are, now it's working. So we're going to come along, we're going to spread that around quite liberally. I want to get it in around the base of these. But once I've got enough on like that, I'm going to stop because it will start to drip and go around the sides, and I don't want to do that. So, because it is quite runny, so we're going to spread that around with the toothpick. And then here I've got my dust. This is stuff that I pick up around my house, and it's great. It gives a really good effect for sand, as you can see. So I'm going to do the rest of that off camera because it's going to get a bit fiddly. You can see it did dribble a little bit over the side there. But I'll get the rest of that sand in and get it tucked in those gaps there at the back. And then it'll be a case of painting the rim and we're done. Very cool. Right, onwards. I've just sealed the sand earlier. Couldn't film it because we had a power cut, so it was very, very dark. Fortunately, the power's come back. But what I've got down here, last time I did this on the channel, someone told me off for taking these, but there's a beach we go to in Greece, we drive to it, that has, basically it's just shells. The whole beach is shells. It's absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful place, and lots and lots and lots and lots of really tiny shells. So this is going to be perfect for me to put a double super glue in and drop a shell on, like so. And this is going to really add to the base. I've got really tiny shells, as you can see. They're almost hard to pick up, they're so small. So what I'll be doing is I will be putting this dab of super glue on to hold the shell in place, but I'll probably, after this, put a little bit of PVA over the top as well, just to make doubly sure, because I don't want them falling off. Because, yeah, someone told me off, some Greek guy said, don't steal our beaches. I'm like, I think there's quite a lot, considering how few of these I picked up. Rosie had a lot of fun collecting them with me as well, so that's my excuse. Anyway, there we are. So we just put a few shells in front of her. I will let that go off now, and then seal it with a little bit more PVA, and then paint the rims, and then she's done. And I am pretty happy with how that is looking. I think that looks really nice. Really nice. Thanks ever so much to everyone that voted. Much appreciated. I'm continuing painting this, and I'm regretting having assembled it, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, the reason why, as I've said, why I did assemble it is because it wasn't clear from the instructions that each of these pieces isn't numbered, and so you can't say, well, this number is going into this building and this number is going into that building. However, what I should have done is painted these before I assembled it. So I painted the inside, which was smart, but I should have painted the outside as well. If you have a look at this, you can see that I'm going to have to touch up the grey. You can see it was incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to get down inside this support for the roof here. Various reasons why I should really have done it all, painted it all unassembled first. So there's a lesson learned, and if you're doing this, I would really recommend that you paint this, particularly this building here. Paint it when it's unassembled, but it's coming together nicely. I've got the dark blue that I have. This one here has worked really well for that colour. So there's just a few bits of touch-ups I need to do, as you can see, with a finer brush, and then I'm going to be painting the windows white, window frames white, and I need to paint the doors brown and a few other bits and pieces. But I'm getting there. It's coming on. So I will continue with this and show what it looks like when it's done. The next thing that I'll film actively is going to be doing the texture, so the grout mix that I'll be putting onto these sections here. So I'll turn the camera on properly when I get to that, and I also still need to get the roof done properly. I'm not happy with that big gap, so I am going to put some shingles on that, and I'll show you how I do that as well. Anyway, I'm making slow progress, just a little bit at a time when I've got a few minutes. But I'm making progress, and I'll get there. So I changed my mind, which does happen quite a lot. I was looking at the picture, and I've decided that I don't think I'm going to do the grout texture on this building. It doesn't look like it's a rough plaster that they're using, and and I want to, yeah, I think there'll be plenty of other opportunities for me to do the grout texture technique, and I have done it several times on the channel already. So I'm not going to do it just for the sake of it. Oops, that doesn't want to be coloured. I'm just going to do this with paint. I've got a tiny brush here because I've been working around, and I've just been painting all the other ones. So maybe we'll move to a bigger brush in a second on this wall. I'll just paint around this gap. But this is just like a light orangey colour I got. It's another tester paint. What I was going to do was use this paint on top of the texture, but as I said, I just don't think that the texture is needed. I have had a lot of fun with this paint. It's really separated, and I managed to spray it everywhere, including all over my jumper, which will now need to go in the wash. All over the floor, everywhere it went while I was trying to mix it. So yeah, it's been a bit dramatic. So I'm going to continue painting this on, and then I will get some grey and paint the rest of these, the rest of the surrounds, like the little steps with grey. This wall here is going to be a dark purple, which is pretty cool. I'm really liking the interesting colours that they've chosen to show on the artwork, which has inspired me basically, and I'm copying them. So no originality here. But yeah, I didn't need a bigger brush, just needed to talk more. So yes, I'm going to continue doing this. This orange goes onto the other floors as well. So might need to do two coats, but for example we're going to start painting in here as well, which is why the smaller brush is useful. So yeah, I will get this all painted, and then when I'm doing the next step I'll show you what it looks like. But for now it's just lots and lots of orange, and some of it quite fiddly, as you can see. Once again, painting these, or at least painting most of these before you assemble, is absolutely the right choice, and that is something that I've definitely made a final decision on, that whatever I do next time, I do my best to get as much of the paint on before I assemble. Anyway, there we are. Enough rambling, enough nattering. I'll keep painting, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get to the next step. Right, I've got them all up to the same stage now, where we have the sand on and I've primed them black. Now I'm going to focus on this one, which is the final one I did actually from now on. Well, a little bit on this. I'll focus on this one and on the cliff one, because this one I've done a little bit different. I've added in some different sizes of gravel here and here, just to make it a little bit more varied. And what I'm going to do now is a little bit of a grey dry brush just over the top of that. This is with my darker grey, and this will really bring out the fact that there's rock here. These brushes are getting a bit old. I'm going to need to buy some new ones. They're losing. Oh, it's fallen apart completely. These brushes are quite old, so yeah, I'm going to need to get some more of my dry brushes. That's annoying. Sod it. Do it without the handle. There we are. Just goes to show just how live this actually is. Yeah, so this will bring out how these rocks look, and what I'll be able to do as well is come in with some lighter greys and then some other colours and really make this pop. And I need to do this before I do the rest of it, because this is helping me to define the edges of where I want it to be rock. Now I'm also going to do a little bit of dry brushing over on this side where I haven't put any. Oh, goodness me, it's completely falling apart. Yeah, I'm going to do some dry brushing on this side where I haven't put any stones, just to make a little bit of a rock face there. So I will now swap out this one. I'm going to try to look. It's completely destroyed. Totally. Oh, now the brush is falling out. I think this is officially dead. Look, it's completely destroyed, and the brush has fallen out. That one's dead. I'll get another brush, and I'll have to buy one. So I'll quickly swap out this for the cliff face one, and then I'll show you the dry brushing on that. Right, so I've got another brush. Hopefully this one doesn't fall apart on me. And what you can see here is that we have the cliffs, which are done with the bark. So what I'm going to do is come along, and for the dark grey, I actually leave quite a lot of paint on the brush. And I may actually have to go back to that first one and do a little bit more. I'll see how it looks when it dries, because that's the top tip, is this stuff lightens more and more and more the more it dries. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, well, that's not very light, I want it lighter than that, and then slapping loads and loads and loads of paint on, because you'll suddenly end up just with not having any black at all, which is not what you want. You've painted this black for a good reason. And I think actually, having said that, looking at this drying up, I think we might be good. So this is just the first one, obviously. You do want it more than you think, because we're going to bring this up, like I say, with several different colours. But we'll let that settle, and then see how it goes. So I'll bring up the final one, which was the cliff that was done just with papier-mâché. So it won't be a second for that one. Right, so here we have the third and final one. This is the cliff that was done with the papier-mâché, and it's just going to be around this headland here. So once again, coming in with the same grey, the darker grey that I have, and looking at picking out the texture that I sculpted in with the papier-mâché to see how well that works. And once again, don't go too overboard, but do remember that we are going to be dragging this up just from this dark grey to quite a light grey next. So that might be enough. I'll let that settle down and report back if I do any more layers, and back in a very short while to do the next colour. So you can see here what I'm meaning about it lightens up quite a lot. So this is the first one with just the darker grey on it. I've not done any touching up or done any extra painting at all, and it is pretty light already. So I've come in now with a slightly lighter grey, and I'm going to do a very light dry brush over the top of this. Again, while you're doing it, it looks like it's making no difference. However, trust me, it is making a difference. Don't get carried away and think, oh, I need to do loads more, because you really don't. So yeah, just a very, very light dry brush on this, just to kind of touch the tops of the edges. I'll do the same thing on all the others, and then we're going to have a look at the the dirt. So we're going to do a brown dry brush over the rest of it. But I'll get the rest of these done with a light grey and bring you back for the dry brush in a second. Just before I get to the dirt, actually, one thing I do like to highlight is how you can make use of different colours. So you've got something really crazy like that bright red, and if you come along and you put it down on your rock, you can really add, and you can see just very gently, you can add some really nice variation. You can put blues and browns and whatever colours you want in, really. And then what you can do is, once you've put some on, maybe get some of this colour here, whatever it is, like an orangey colour. Very, very light though. Should have done the red last, really, because it's overpowering everything. There we are. Dry that off on my thing, and then you can just come in, and it's kind of like leopard spotting, and it just adds a lot more interest. And then once you've done this, you can come back over with either a wash, I've done this with washes, or with another dry brush of the grey colour, just to tie it together, and that will really add something to how your build looks. It's a really nice way of making it a little bit more interesting, because rocks are not just grey. I mean, some are, and if that's what you're looking for, then fair enough. But monochrome is a bit boring. So I'm just going to tiger spot on like that, let that dry, and I'll do the brown before I start, before I go back over, and then I'll show you how I do the dry brush to draw it all together at the end. But I'm going to put those little colours across all of my ones. I might do some blues and greens as well, and then we'll get back over to doing the brown for the dirt. Right, so I've got my chocolate brown, and what I'm going to do now is attempt to dry brush it on. It's a little bit of a wet brush this. I would rather it wasn't quite that strong, but yeah, we're just going to come along and apply this over all of the rest of the model. So I'll get that done, and when I've come to the next step, which is probably going to be toning down the rock faces, I'll turn the camera back on. I do have a Rosie with me who wants to help, but she's just got woken up and isn't in the mood for being recorded. So we're going to put the camera off, and me and her are going to continue with this dry brushing. So just about to start doing this morning, and Rosie woke up, didn't you, love? And you've come upstairs, and we're going to have a play around with some tufts. So Rosie hasn't done tufts before, so here we have the tufts, and let me show you how it works, and then you can help me out. So what we have is some PVA glue, and actually I normally, if you just wait 1 second, I normally use tweezers because I find it makes it a lot easier, and you're much less likely to end up with a problem. So let me just, yeah, so we use tweezers, we pull it off.
Wow.
Yep, we dip that into the glue like that. And where do you want this one to go, darling?
Here.
There. And then we press it down in, like that. And then we get another one. Oh.
I do not like tweezers. They could bite me.
They could. You could be very careful. Where do you want this one to go? There.
You dropped
I
something.
did, so I'm going to make use of that. And where do you want this one to go? There. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue placing the tufts. I have other ones over here. I have some tiny ones here, and I have some ones from Geek Gaming here. So we're going to place the tufts all over this and all over the other three, and then we'll come back later on to do the flocking. What do you say to the camera?
Bye.
Bye. So there we are, another varied week, another fun week, and it's really nice, as I said in the intro, to have gotten back to hobbying with Rosie a little bit, and hopefully I'm going to be able to keep that up in the coming week. So yeah, just to remind you again, don't forget to comment below with your vote. The names are on screen now and also in the description, and there are also a link to each of the miniatures in the description if you want to see what they actually look like on the Reaper site, and that's just to help you out, hopefully to help you to make your choice. I really appreciate everyone that has voted so far, and everyone that does vote this week. Double thumbs up from you all. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll wrap up by saying, as I do at the end of all of my vlogs, still going on, the wars both in Ukraine and in Israel, and my thoughts do go out to you or anyone you know who might be in that horrible situation. Just to make it clear that I know people directly impacted by both, and that's why I do say this in all of my vlogs. I have a personal connection to people, and it's just horrible what's happening over there. So yeah, and to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.